Good morning, people. So today we are going to be looking at another school of thought called interactionism and structuration. God, I feel like I'm doing a YouTube video. Interactionism and structuration is a school that was a result of structuralism. However, they are very different from structuralism in terms of the entire approach they take towards trying to understand the same logic of meanings. Structuralism, they're trying to deal with meanings. Interactionism, they're trying to deal with meanings. However, in structuralism, they're trying to look at meanings from the perspective of signs and symbols. Just hang on, I'm going to put my phone on silent before people start calling and texting. Yes. So there they're dealing with meanings in terms of signs and symbols. Here they're dealing with meanings in terms of social interactions, right? There's a lot of meanings that we have around us. There's a lot of things we have around us. Everything. Like you see, this thing is very important to me. I randomly found it. This is a guitar plectrum, and this particular plectrum is very important to me as compared to the other plectrums I have, because this was a gift by a very important person who's not important anymore. So meanings, suddenly this thing starts having so much importance to me that when I interact with this, I protect it. I keep this thing with me all the time. I make sure it's around me. I don't leave it around. I don't let it go missing. I put it in my wallet most of the times, because this is kind of like more meaningful to me than the other plectrums I have. I have more expensive ones. I have plectrums that cost about 500 rupees also, but I don't use them as much as I use this. So that is what the whole school of interactionism and structuration deals with. How we interact with these social elements. So just to give you like a very basic example or basic definition, which is not textbook definition, it's just my definition of how interactionism works, is to say the way we act individually and in social groups with respect to the social environments. If there was no social environment, if you are not a part of a society and you were born as a caveman and your entire social interaction was limited to a few people, you would be a completely different individual. You would be a completely different human being with different behavioral patterns, different attitudes, different belief systems. You'd be so different. But this entire society, with all the different sets of meanings that are filled in the society, changes you as a person. You become a different person. You learn new things, and there's so much that happens within your head that you start changing the way you function as an individual and the way you see the society, the way you see people, right? So why are we talking about this? Why was I so particular about you guys responding to my previous videos? Because if you don't understand structuralism, you're not going to understand this at all. So I really wanted you guys to get back to me sooner so we could get a better picture of interactionism and structuration, right? Because there we are talking about signs and symbols, but ultimately it all boils down to meanings. Here also we are talking about signs and symbols. It all started with the Chicago school talking about, please write this down, symbolic interaction, right? Symbolic interactionism is a school of thought that was started by Chicago school that talks by like very, very simple terms about how every interaction that we undertake in our lives has a symbolic reference. We interact based on the symbolic meanings that we have for all these objects around us, all these people around us, all these social institutions around us. As a part of which they give us a 3-step process of how symbolic interactionism works, and that's more like an introduction to interactionism for you guys, right? So one of the things that they talk about is action. The first point is action. The way we act in our society is based on the meanings that we possess about these things, right? I act more concerned. For example, I'm a very careless person, to be honest. I don't give a shit about who comes to my house, what they do. Like sometimes people are using my phone, people are taking books from my house. I'm okay with it. That's Sanhit behaving in a very chill, calm way. But if somebody takes this and misplaces it, I will get angry because of the meaning it has for me. And according to them, meanings are changing on a daily basis. Every day there are new meanings. Every day something is more important, something is less important, something makes a huge difference, something makes absolutely no difference, something is new and something is old. Meanings are changing on a daily basis. With meanings changing, your interactionism, your actions start changing, right? The second important thing is meanings that we were talking about, which affect our actions, are in turn changing our social interaction process, right? Today, we hardly have met and we don't talk to each other so much, and now even the dialogue is lost because it's all unilog. But when we meet, maybe we are going to have a conversation. I don't know, maybe we'll run into each other, or maybe we'll get to meet on an official basis or whatever. Now, depending on the way we have met, our interaction is going to change. Right now we are interacting like this. Tomorrow we are going to be interacting face to face. Maybe we are going to become colleagues or whatever. In this context, when we are talking about social interactions, everything boils down to the meanings that we have inside our head. To me, something might mean so important, like the NET classes might be really, really important, and maybe if my colleague had to teach this class, she wouldn't take it so seriously, because she believes that teaching online sucks, and she never does online sessions. So that's the context of meaning again. And the third important point is meanings depend on interpretation, which was the whole subjective point I was talking about, right? We are all constantly interpreting all these objects around us. When you want to just say you want to drink water, first you need to look at the bottle. You need to understand that the bottle contains water. There is an interpretation you make, and then you drink. 3 points. All these 3 points revolve around one logic of symbolic interactionism. If you understand science, if you understand symbols, you're going to understand symbolic interaction like that. So that is the introduction to interactionism. We'll come to structuration in a while, but under interactionism I have 3 theories. Under structuration I have 1. So we're looking at 4 theories as a part of this school of thought, and all 4 theories are very important when it comes to NET, right? So I'm going to be starting with one very important theory, the first theory of interactionism, and has been quite popular over a period of time and has been asked 3-4 times at least in NET, right? If you look at the previous year question papers, you'll realize that this theory is really, really important. The first theory we are going to be looking at is by Erving Goffman, E-R-V-I-N-G, Erving, G-O-F-F-M-A-N, Erving Goffman. The theory is called the presentation of self in everyday life, or in short, a lot of people refer to it as self-presentation, right? There are a couple of concepts I want to introduce to you, and before we go into that, I'll just quickly give you an introduction to this theory. The entire theory is not a part of mainstream mass communication. It's mostly a part of social anthropology, but he was a mass communication faculty. So this is connected to mass communication in terms of how mass media has an influence on us, which we will understand. So when we talk about Goffman's presentation of the self in everyday life, the first argument he makes is we are all actors, we are all performers. He says, he doesn't look at us as individuals, right? At this point of time, I am performing to you. You guys are performing whatever role you guys are performing, right? And the performance that we are kind of presenting is purely based on the role that we are playing at this point of time. As of now, I'm a teacher, even though I'm in the comfort of my house, I'm actually wearing like house clothes, and I've not had a bath yet. I have to go to college later, so I'm chilling today at home. There's so much comfort here, but I still have to be a little professional when I'm talking to you guys through this video, right? I can't just chill and be casual and be like, hey guys, what's up? How are you guys doing? How's the week? I can't do that. And at the same time, as soon as I hang up, as soon as I'm done with this video, I will go back to being that guy. So I have now shifted my role from Sanhit the teacher to Sanhit the student. And when I'm with friends, I'm Sanhit the friend. When I'm with my girlfriend, I'm Sanhit the boyfriend. When I'm with my parents, I'm Sanhit the son. So we're all playing different roles at different points of time. Now these things, these roles depend on one thing, the occasion. What is the occasion? I'm behaving like this, I'm performing like this. The occasion is NET classes. What is the occasion? I'm being chill and cool because I'm being the student, The occasion changes things, and all of this results in us becoming performers. The occasion changes the meaning, interactionism. Occasion changes meaning, meaning changes actions. And now we are acting. According to Goffman's words, we are performing. And in this context, every performer needs to go through two important things. The first one is expression, the second one is impression. Expression management, impression management. What is expression management? While I'm teaching you guys this class, I am trying to make sure that my expressions are not flat, Generally, when I do videos, I'm very flat. Like I'm like, so today we are going to be. But I'm trying to put more expression so you guys are not getting bored. So you guys are still with me and you're equally involved, right? So that is my expression management. I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping you guys involved by being very expressive. At the same time, impression management that you're trying to do is basically trying to get this person to have a certain perception about you. Right? If I'm with friends, I'm a completely different guy, right? Like the first thing I do when I have friends coming over is, hey guys, do you want to grab something to drink? Whether I want to drink or not is secondary. The fact that, oh, look at me, I'm so cool, I'm offering a drink to my friends, I'm one of those guys who's very hospitable and stuff. That's the kind of impression I want them to have of me, When I'm at home, I'm all like, like before I came to Pondicherry, one of the things that I always do is touch my mom's feet, My mother loves it, I'm guessing, and she has this impression that her son is a very nice guy. I'm a nice son, but I'm not a nice guy. But I don't want her to know all the bad things I do. So what do? I manage the impression by performing. Cool. So we are all performers, we are all acting based on the roles being given to us, and in this process we are trying to do two things. One is impression management, expression management. In this context, we are going to the next thing where we are all talking about performers being performers on stage and off stage, right? So he brings two more things into the picture: the front stage performance and the backstage preparation. So the front stage, backstage. Two things that you really need to know. What is the front stage? The front stage is when you are around people. Like you're on stage in a theater, in a play, and you're performing to an audience. Suddenly you become a different person, right? You've been given a role. Let's say you're like Romeo, and you're playing Romeo and Juliet, and you're standing there. You can't be Sanhit anymore, because you have to inside your head think you are Romeo, the mad lover. So you're going to be like, all good night, parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it. I have memorized that line. That's a beautiful line. So I know that line. So I'm being Romeo when I'm on stage, right? I'm playing that role. Similarly, we are on the front stage every time there are people around us. Whenever, like let's say right now my neighbor knocks on the door and rings the bell and says hello, I'm going to, as soon as I open the door, I am entering the front stage because I have an audience. Suddenly I want them to look at me as Sanhit, the nice neighbor, this sweet kid. See, all my neighbors seem to like me. They all think I'm a very sweet human being. I live in a fisherman colony, and I go eat with them and I go chill with them, and they love me. That is my performance on my front stage, to be this guy. Right now I'm performing to you guys because I know you all are watching. I know you'll be judging me. I know you'll be assessing me, and that's one of the reasons why I have to perform, to make sure I impress you as well as I'm expressive. But when there is nobody around us, when there is no audience, as soon as I hang up this video, the first thing I'm going to do is a lot of bad things, right? Things that you shouldn't do. So that is my backstage. Nobody's watching me. What am I doing at this point of time? I am preparing for my front stage. So when you're in the backstage, you are rehearsing, you're preparing, you're looking at checking out costumes. So that's what I'm going to do before going to college, right? I'm not just going to pick up whatever I find. I'm going to think, so today I'm going to this French department. We have a film screening series happening Wednesday, Thursday. So I have been assigned French department and the English department. I have to go there and talk about the film screenings, and I have to explain the movies to them and invite them to come, right? And there are 2 PhD scholars in the French department. Oh my God, they're so pretty. They're just Shit, I kind of lost my impression management. So I have to decide what to wear. I have to think. I have to be conscious. I have to be careful with what I wear. I have to plan properly for the role that I'm going to play in my front stage, in my backstage. What is my backstage at this moment? My house. As soon as I hang up, I'm alone, right? And I will get ready for the role I'm going to play. So in the backstage, you're preparing. In the front stage, you're performing. One of the biggest influences in the backstage is mass media. What happens with mass media? When you watch a movie, you're all inspired because the movie gives you new meanings, right? The movie tells you, so instead of wearing a white shirt, maybe you should wear a blue shirt. Oh my God. Matthew McConaughey looks so good in a blue shirt. Maybe I should try that on. Maybe I should try that hairstyle. Maybe I should talk like that. If you've noticed, I'm a huge Matthew McConaughey fan. I'm a huge fan. And my speech apparently is very similar to his. A lot of friends have told me that I speak a lot like him. I do not know if that's true. But yeah, it is an influence in my backstage. So now when I go on to my front stage, media has already influenced me in terms of how we come across to people, right? So now coming to how a society works in terms of the bigger social structure, every time you watch a movie, you see some TV show, you're watching reality TV, whatever the hell it is, right? One thing you will notice is media, mass media, is filled with good people and the bad people. You hardly get influenced by the bad people because they're not what you pick up from. You do pick up habits like smoking, you pick up habits like violence and etc. But the good people have a huge effect on your backstage, right? So what about the good people does Goffman say? Goffman talks about television being filled with pleasing personalities, with these happy people, who are nice, who are ideal, who are perfect in every sense. And what we tend to do when we see these pleasing personalities, we prepare in our backstage, taking influence from these pleasing personalities. And when we talk about pleasing personalities, naturally we have these set of idealized characteristics. Please write these two words down: pleasing personalities, idealized characteristics. What are idealized characteristics? A person has to be thin, has to be fair, has to be good looking, has to be so many things, how fairness creams sell like this in our country. People don't mind spending $1,000 on a goddamn haircut just to look good. People diet and starve. Like a friend of mine, she eats 2 meals a day. That is ridiculous. She eats cornflakes and whatnot for breakfast, and then evening lunch/dinner, and it's done. She thinks she has to grow thin and look hot and make sure that people look at her and say, my God, you're so good looking. These idealized characteristics are born to us through these pleasing personalities. Oh, look at her, Kareena Kapoor is so thin and hot, I want to become like her. And everybody starts going crazy, dieting and that and this and stuff. And this is Irving Goffman's front stage and backstage theory, which is a part of the presentation of the self in everyday life.